straight into it. Right, welcome back to the Konkering podcast. We have got a super series for you today. Mini-series, actually, take it back. And it's going to be all about marketing, isn't it? So with myself, Jevon, we've got Tom Stewart, we've got Madison Cadman. We'll define this as the home team, shall we? Home team?
Home team, yeah.
That's
Good
nice.
to be back.
Maddie, what are we talking about today in the world of marketing?
Today, Jevon, we are talking about content marketing. We're actually going to talk about an article that I put together a few months ago that's on our website, konkerjobs.co.uk.
Follow the link.
And we're going to talk about content marketing and why it's important for employers. So imagine a window display of a shop that never changes. Would you want to go in and have a look around? Would you think to yourself, I've actually already seen everything they've got to offer? Well, that's what candidates will think if you don't keep your marketing up to date as a business that's searching for the best talent to come and work for you. So this episode is all about why content marketing is important as an employer, why candidates want it, different formats, how to share it. But first of all, I suppose we should probably go over what content marketing actually is. So in my world, it's about attracting and engaging with a defined audience. So in this case, it would be your candidates or potential candidates, delivering something of value. So that's the content. And then building their trust so they take action when they are ready. So in this case, it would be to apply. How would you define content marketing, Tom?
Exactly how you've just defined it there. But what I love about that little section of the article that you've written is the analogy, the shop window analogy. I think sometimes when you put things into an analogy, it makes it so much easier just understand, like straight away as you read it out, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it is true. Like if I walked past a shop and it had like a Christmas display in it when we're in spring, well, I wouldn't go in because I saw everything that was in the shop last season.
Yeah, I think the better your... it's pretty simple, isn't it? But the better your shop window, the more you've got in your shop window, the more you can tell somebody about what products you've got to offer, the more likely people are to come in.
Yeah, so I think if everybody thinks about what they're putting out, what sort of content they're putting out in that way, then you constantly will be wanting to update it.
We have the conversation all the time with clients that we recruit for that your social media, so your LinkedIn, your Instagram, I guess they're probably the main two, aren't they? Bit of Facebook here and there.
Is this what we define as the shop window?
This is what we define as the shop window. Bit of TikTok if you're up and coming. Trying
Tough.
to. Tough crowd on TikTok. And obviously your website, all those assets, those business assets that you've got, they are your shop window, they are your shop front to the prospective employees that you want to attract into your business. I literally had a conversation with somebody the other day and they've got an amazing business in Bristol. They've got an unbelievable office set up. They've invested loads of money in like making a really creative office set up. It's really unique and like bespoke. You wouldn't see it somewhere else. It's not your typical office. They do loads in terms of socials. They've got like a golf club that's like an internal office golf club. They're in a competition. They do go-karting. They do clay pigeon shoot competitions. You go on their LinkedIn and they've not posted a single thing on LinkedIn.
Really?
Got nothing.
And the website's been in development for a couple of years. And like, it's such a shame. And you speak to them about it and it's just, they're trying to deliver on projects, trying to meet client needs, trying to do everything that's involved in running the business. And it's just one of those things that keeps getting pushed to the back burner. But that's a prime example of a business that have got so much to shout about, but aren't shouting.
Yeah.
Doing all those things and actually nobody knows about it.
It's like,
And sorry, that a business that struggles to recruit or even retain staff.
Yeah, I'd say, both. It's a skill short market that they work in. So, they're trying to recruit for the same people that everyone else is. And they'll just be people won't even know about them. Like they won't know that they exist because they're just, not out there in the market, not posting, people aren't sharing stuff about what goes on at the workplace. So
What percentage of businesses do you think are on Instagram?
do you know the answer?
I hope
to
you know
this?
the answer.
Nope. But genuinely, what do you think? What do you reckon?
I'd say, I don't know.
Because like you say, there's so many well-established businesses which maybe don't think that Instagram is like a place where they would be able to attract employees or even customers that just haven't even bothered.
I think a lot of companies would think, just giving examples about the industries that we recruit in at Konker, like an architecture practice, like, oh, nobody wants to see our drawings. But that's not why you should have Instagram. It is exactly like what you said, the shop window. You need to shout about what you're doing. Like for us, we're a recruitment company. People have messaged us on Instagram in the past, like, I don't know what to post. And we're not posting majority about recruitment. Like half of our posts, more than half of our posts, I would say, are not about recruitment. And that's a lot. And a lot of, you know, recruiters have got in touch with us, haven't they, and wanted to work for us because of our shop window. So I think companies out there need to kind of be a bit more open-minded.
I've got two thoughts about Instagram. I think that it's definitely more swayed towards like employer branding type content in terms of you trying to attract potential employees, you know, representing the business, sharing lots of good stories. But I do also think that there is a client side marketing skew from it. So let's use the example I just spoke about. If there's a company and they've got an internal golf competition and a few different people in the business all play golf, and golf's one of the things that they're all interested in, they're posting that kind of content that, you know, they might be talking about that. So many of their clients will also be interested in golf, and they'll just find that interesting to read about, you know, what they're doing, seeing the stuff that they're involved with. They might invite them to a networking event because they know they all play golf. They go along to a networking event, it builds better relationships, and ultimately people want to do business with people that they like, know and trust. So, you know, posting all that stuff on Instagram just gives everyone the perfect opportunity to get to like, know and trust you. So yeah, Instagram I think is like definitely neglected. I'd guess that like 50% of companies maybe on Instagram, but I'd say of that, I guess. But I'd say of that 50%, I bet 80% of those hardly post or have posted six times. You know, like they'll just be really like festering away, just pages that no one looks at, no one posts on. Maybe there's a happy Christmas post from 2 years ago on there. And
do you think that's more detrimental to somebody that doesn't even have an Instagram account?
Yeah, potentially. I think, yeah, either not having it or just having it so outdated like that.
I mean, I think it would mean the same
I don't
to me.
think it makes any difference. I would look at it and I would just completely disregard it.
Yeah, like it wasn't there. It wouldn't be any different. I would say probably more than 50% are on Instagram, but are just not using
old
it,
accounts
like you
that
say.
are just,
I think it's so difficult. Like, you know, when we were definitely in the early stages of setting up Konker, we believed in it, didn't we? Like really believed in Instagram, social media, tried to post as much as possible, but it is actually really difficult and quite time consuming to be regular with it, because, you know, you might go 3 or 4 days, post a few good things, and then think, oh bloody hell, I haven't got anything to post about now. What can I post about? And actually coming up with the ideas to post, like maybe not so relevant content, but content that people actually want to see, is quite difficult.
But I think a piece of advice for people to just get started, if they are feeling like that, is, you know, if you have a culture that is fun, you do things outside of work, you have like an open door policy, you get together, you have meetings, just start capturing that and posting it. Like, it doesn't have to be really thought out pieces of content that are going to add loads of value to the people that are watching it.
Well, what if companies aren't like that and they don't want to show the inside workings of what they do?
Well, they probably won't
social media
attract the best talent, will they?
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
I think that I look back to when we first started and some of the rubbish that we posted on Instagram.
Oh mate, we posted some quality stuff.
We were posting just like architect of the week or like our, you know, favorite engineer, and it was like, you know, be Brunel or something. Like we just post random stuff about that.
Oh my god, we
just post like pictures of bridges or like our building of the week. The
Botwa. BOTW. I loved that.
It was good, but so meaningless, wasn't it? And like,
that was so funny. I can't believe you remember that.
But that's not the audience, is it? You know, that wasn't.
Yeah, maybe not. I think we were good intentions, but maybe thinking along the wrong kind of lines. But I think that's like where the shift has actually come to now, because I think maybe at the time that's where social media was at. Let's think it was 5 years ago, pre-COVID. I always think of things as pre and post-COVID because I do think like there's a lot of change. Before and after.
Fair enough.
But like, you know, if we're going back 5 years ago in our tiny little box office where social media wasn't as prevalent, was it? That's for sure. There was TikTok, but it wasn't big. You know, Instagram didn't have stories back then. I don't think it didn't. And probably businesses weren't as like active as being on social media. I thought there was much of a need. you know, we were probably doing more than most with the bottler and the building of the week. And it was some really interesting stuff. I remember spending loads of time doing research for that and just wasting time just because it was exciting.
I actually think that, I mean, social media obviously definitely did grow in COVID, but now, and I feel like I can talk about this because I am of the Gen Z generation.
Nice.
Which you found out yesterday.
Which I realised yesterday. But I can only remember a time with social media. I can't remember times without it. So I think
The good old
now
days.
my age bracket going into the working world, and that's just what they expect from companies
that's a really
out there.
valid point. There's a in this article, there's a percentage which, Maddi, you've obviously put this article together, so you know exactly what's what, but it really stands out to me, and I think it's so relevant for this quick podcast. But 75% of job seekers consider an employee's brand even before applying to a job. That's huge. So just imagine if you've got really, I wouldn't say bad, but average social media, you are not going to have as good a chance as attracting the good talent to a business which is really open about their culture, displays all their benefits, you know, really portrays their business well about what it's like to work for said business.
Yeah.
You're just not going to have as good a chance.
No.
Going back to what you were saying, Maddi, about, or maybe you, Joe, about just the time. You know, it was hard to find the time to do all that sort of stuff. I definitely think as well that some of the onus, if you have the right culture and you build like the right sort of attitudes in the office and everyone's behind the business and aligned with the business and wants to help and support the business, some of the onus on promoting the employer brand should fall to the employees. You know, you should have a culture where the team are actually happy to post about what's going on at work. The team are happy to post about what they've achieved. The team are happy to post about what they're working on. And then, you know, you're not the one that's there responsible for posting on your company page, which actually doesn't perform very well anyway on a lot of social media platforms. It is more about the actual people that work at the companies. If they can shout about what they're doing, promote your employer brand, you know, that would save so much time for you.
Why is it more about the people?
What do you mean?
Well, why is it more about the people?
Because there's so much credibility there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So if a company's posting, we're great because X, we're great because Y, so on and so forth, that's all well and good. But yeah, if you're hearing it from the people, then there's so much credibility there, isn't there?
Yeah. And I think if you create all this regular content, just, you know, one person, one social media account, yeah, you probably get, let's say you get 1,000 views per piece of content. If 20 employees are posting one piece of content similar, you got 20,000 views on average. So
exactly. And I think it's more organic, isn't it? When employees of a company are talking about it, like you say, it's more credible, but it's more honest as well. They're more likely to actually say how they feel rather than what a company page will. I kind of like to look at it that a company page is like the backup content to what the rest of the employees are putting out there. So that's the primary focus that everybody should be posting content and actually wanting to. We've done a lot of work on personal branding. That's a whole different podcast, but that is so impactful. And then the content after that comes from a company page. But I suppose this episode is more to just get people kickstarted if they haven't already. And just a few ideas that are in the article that we'll, of course, share with this podcast, but that we'll talk about now is, like Tom's mentioned, post videos or images of you out at team events, industry trends, share a tour of your office, video a day in the life at work. Like those kind of posts will really show what your business is like and what happens behind the scenes. Would you agree?
Well, yeah. What are you posting at the moment then, which is getting good traction?
We're posting a lot. Well, anytime we kind of have a social, we always do a reel.
Love a reel.
And a reel
Keeping it real.
That's basically a short video of what we get up to on the day. Mini bite-sized chunks of, snaps, I suppose, of us out. And that always does really well.
So where's this content going? This is all very sociable stuff, isn't it? Stuff outside, probably less formal than, you know, the professional, you know, jobs and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So do we have to think about where we're posting this, or are we posting it everywhere?
We're actually posting that across all the platforms, cross-platforming that content.
And why are we doing that?
For a bit of lingo for you then, we're doing that because, well, I think a lot of the platforms are changing. Like LinkedIn is changing. It's not just a platform to be professional and formal nowadays. That's where people are going to search for jobs, obviously. So many people use LinkedIn to look for new opportunities. And if they can see a company on there shouting about what they do as a team, that, you know, happens on a social outside of the office, but that kind of engagement as a team is also brought into the office, like, why wouldn't they want to see that?
Yeah, I think the big thing on LinkedIn as well is not just like people that are actively looking for a position, it's like the compounding the awareness over time of your business. So it's just constantly, it's almost like the trickle effect of a dripping tap. You're just always there, you're constantly putting content out there, and when the time comes that somebody might be in a position that they want a new challenge or they've fallen out of love with their current position, they already know so much about your business just because they've constantly seen the bits and pieces you put out over an extended period of time. So, you know, you're just going to be forefront of mind. On the video point, you mentioned about content people could try and put in video out. I think video for us has been the number one catalyst on the success or like the sort of benefits that we've seen from the content that we've been putting out. Like video's changed it massively for us. And I keep referring to last year, we had one recruiter in Exeter contact us all year, you know, approach us, said that, you know, we'd post all the time that we're recruiting, we're looking for recruiters. We had one person get in touch with us. In the first quarter of this year, we've had 6 people.
Yeah, and I actually don't think, well, from the company page, there hasn't been one post to say that we're recruiting.
No, it's just literally been content time after time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting because, yeah, like you say, that's completely blown up, and I suppose if you are serious about recruiting, start posting. But I think the reason why some people maybe don't start posting is because it can be time consuming, can be expensive,
and very daunting.
And very daunting, get behind the
is,
camera.
Yeah.
But you just got to start, haven't you? I feel like I've said that so many times over and over again, like with marketing and just on this podcast, but literally you've just got to start somewhere.
Do you know what I think makes it easier to start? That I can tell you about a little story that I've done some research on as well.
Please do.
What I think actually makes it easier to start is to do something as a bit more of a purposeful campaign. Like we dived straight in with like, let's just get behind the camera and talk about sort of this topic. And it worked for us because we had people that are outgoing enough and confident enough to start doing it. And it was a bit like herd mentality. Once a few people started doing it and that become the way that we do things, everyone else has built up confidence and got involved, and everyone's happy to do video content now. But let's say, for example, you don't have that and you want to do a bit more of a purposeful campaign. I think if you've organized something and people are on board and there's an objective and maybe even you've got professionals coming in to help produce video for you, I feel like that would just give people a lot more confidence to actually go in and do it because there's a campaign. And anyway, there's a couple that are really good examples of this. Heineken, heard of them before?
Never.
Global drinks brand. They created their now famous Go Places campaign in 2016, and they actually updated it in 2019 with Go Places 2.0. So it basically involved a series of videos featuring stories of Heineken employees who showcase the entrepreneurial spirit that the company was built on. So like the intent was to show that the brand revolves around its people, their unique personalities and their ambitions. So you can look it up, you can put Heineken Go Places campaign, and you look it up, and there's a few really nice examples of just people that have sort of brought ideas to the table at Heineken, and Heineken have actioned what they wanted to do. So for example, there was a natural disaster in Mexico, there was a water shortage, a lady that was part of that sort of Mexico team wanted to just fill up the cans with water, and they created like a little mini water brand, and they done that, and it was a big charitable thing. It was her idea, and they got behind her and backed it. And then they talk about, you know, then Heineken became Mexico's favorite drink and all this sort of stuff. So it was a really nice example. But the stats on that, so in 2016, Heineken said it saw its application rates increase by 56% after running that video campaign. So they put out a series of like 4 videos, really well made, but really impactful. And like that's such an uplift in application rates. Imagine the savings costs and the time costs of actually having those people apply and not having to go out and search for them. So that was a really nice one. And then the other one, another good story, General Electric. So one of the world's oldest electricity businesses. Obviously, it's quite a nice example because they're like a really old company, very industrial, well-known, been around for a very long time, but they wanted to sort of reposition themselves with a bit of a digital edge and actually sort of come into the 21st century, I suppose, to a degree. And And as part of their employer branding strategy, they put out a series of videos, one of which was a video called What If Millie Dresselhaus, a female scientist, was treated like a celebrity? And you should go and watch this. It's a really good video. So she was the first woman to win the National Medal of Science for Engineering and known as the Queen of Carbon Science. But she, the whole video is based on, it comes out and it's like, oh, a Millie Dresselhaus doll, as if it was like a Barbie doll. There's like a little girl and she's got that. And then it goes on with all these other examples of people celebrating Millie Dresselhaus, people naming their children Millie, like as if she was a celebrity and everyone's getting to know her. And anyway, the whole premise of the video and the whole purpose of it was they wanted to get 20,000 women into technical roles by 2020. And then that video has now had over 1 million views.
Really?
And that's such a nice piece of content, isn't it?
Should I know who Millie Dresselhaus is?
I didn't. I looked at her Wikipedia page, don't worry.
I was sitting there thinking, who's that?
But that's almost like the point as well, isn't it? It's like
yeah,
we
exactly,
don't know who she is.
Yeah, completely different spin on it, that's for sure. And that's all through video.
All video. But they're like big companies, big budgets, putting together big campaigns. But there's 100% options to do that on like a small scale.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring in more media offerings to some of the clients that we work with. We want to partner with businesses and promote their employer brand through video. Just simple things like About Us videos where we introduce a company. They get to express some of their personalities. You hear it from the horse's mouth, like you said, about why it's great to work at a certain place. You know, that can be like the perfect starting point to grow your employer brand, get content out there, and start that
give
journey.
You a bit of an introduction to creating this sort of content. I suppose, yeah, if you're in front of the camera and, you know, behind or being led by a professional, you've probably got a lot more confidence to do it after.
Yeah, and I think actually having an end product that you're really proud of, you're more than likely, well, you definitely will want to put that out there, and then that's when you will make the time to post the content and to follow up from that when you can see the success of it.
And it's really hard to actually start posting and start putting content out there because it's actually quite hard to monetize and quantify, isn't it? And I think that's where the reluctance for a lot of businesses comes from. But I think ultimately, like, one of the main takeaways from this is if you feel like your business has got a lot to shout about and you are doing things very well, start shouting about it, and you will very easily be able to quantify that and, you know, monetize it with the results that you see off the back of that. And how have we done that? Exactly how you've said, people approaching us, bringing more people into the business. And that was probably our number one objective at the start, wasn't it? To actually attract people to the business. Yeah. And there's your results.
Yeah.
Like the financial saving, you know, because we even spoke about using a rec to rec, a recruiter to recruiter. Use a recruiter to find us recruiters when we're recruiters. But it didn't work, did it? You know, there wasn't many great options around, but we sort of toyed with the idea. So we were of the opinion that we would spend money to find good people because we know that the value is in good people. And then also we'd spend countless hours sort of trolling through LinkedIn and messaging people and approaching people, and it wasn't the right time. And, you know, that can be a really time consuming process, can't it? Whereas now we've had sort of 6 people approach us in the first quarter.
2 birds, 1 stone.
2 birds, 1 stone. We've taken on 4 amazing people that could have taken you 2 years to find all those people if you didn't have an employer brand. And
also, if you didn't have the employer brand, you may not have attracted them even if you had found them anyway, mightn't you?
Yeah.
Because how much harder is it to explain the benefits maybe over the phone or in an advert of your business over quality videos, you know, regular posting, this is what we do inside, this is what we do outside of work. Just paints such a better picture, doesn't it? Or an impression of what it's like to work for a new business. And I think that's what's so scary about moving jobs as well, is that it's the complete unknown. Why would you sometimes go from, you know, sometimes better the devil, you know, into something which could be completely different? But the bigger and the more clearer the picture that you can paint of your business, the more confidence people are going to be to move to your business.
Absolutely. And I also think the best type of content is when you don't actually have to physically type out or say what your benefits are when you're talking about your employer brand. If they just come through naturally, you don't actually have to say them. That's the type of content that you want to put out there. Show them. Exactly. I think the main thing about all of this is if you are thinking and wanting to branch out, put out some more content, is to have a future focused mindset. That's what you need to really be able to apply yourself to, you know, you're not going to see the results straight away Probably not from your first post that you put out there, but if you keep it up, you definitely will.
Spot on.
Couldn't agree more. Was there anything else? What other points do we have to talk about?
There's a really nice point here, actually, which I've highlighted on, again, Maddi, your article. But repetition creates familiarity.
Where did you come up with
that
did
from?
not come up with that. No way.
Whoa, hang on.
I actually
I'm
did.
joking.
Thinking about it, it sounds like something I said once.
No, yeah, you take that one, eh? But I think the reason why that stands out to me so much is that, you know, if you post little bits here and there every day, more and more and more, so much better. And like you say, it's the compound interest of constantly posting, constantly putting stuff out there which is different to create the best and clearest picture of your business, rather than one post, these are our benefits, this is the job we're looking for, here you go. I think it's got a much better effect, isn't it, over a period of time.
Absolutely. And even just, you know, it might be that you're then reaching potential candidates that are not actually looking for an opportunity right at that moment, but they've seen you pop up on their newsfeed again and again, and they like what you're putting out there, and they've actually taken some value from a piece of content that you've put out there, and that's the type of people that you probably do want.
Yeah, like the alignment factor. I don't know if we've hardly spoken about that, but the people that are going to come, that are interested in coming to join you after they see all this content and get to know you, you know, they've got to know you, so they're already more aligned with the business. I think it might have been Pat. Where is he? Over there. I think it might have been Pat that said when he joined, he already felt like he knew everybody. Like, you know, you already feel like you know some of the people that are in the business because there's been so much video that have already gone out, and people are like, oh yeah, the infamous green wall, like they know the green wall.
Yeah,
if you know, you
because
know.
they've seen it so much just behind me. But people who are so like they already know what the office is like, they already know what the people are like, they already know what some of the personalities are like, so they're already far more aligned with the business and the team before they join, and therefore hopefully and theoretically that should be a much more successful journey for them.
Well, it's like the Heineken advert, isn't it? If they had an over 50% increase on their applications, those people have already bought into Heineken. They know exactly what the company's like. Heineken don't have to sell themselves, and that is a perk in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, like there's so much cost saving in that, because the time, resource that it would take to bring somebody in, train them, set them up on different systems, introduce them to everybody, you know, they become part of the business, and then if 3-6 months down the line that doesn't work out, you know, there's a huge unseen financial impact of that sort of scenario.
So we're recruiters, aren't we?
We are.
Obviously. You're not, Maddi.
No, I'm not.
But you could see yourself as one, actually, of what I'm about to say. If you're serious about growing your business, whatever size you are, and you know you have actually got a long-term goal to grow your business rather than just one hire, that was close. That nearly went.
Very
God.
nearly just had a
This
glass of
is
water
good
all
what I'm
over
about
the
to say
table.
as well, and you've just cut me off there.
Hang on.
This better be good.
No, not Spider-Man.
So, as I was saying, there's the tone. If you're serious about recruiting and growing your business, rather than just the one-off hire, is it more important to prioritize marketing over direct recruitment, putting a job post out, reaching out to people? Because like you say, we haven't really done any of the direct recruiting, you could say, putting that many job posts out, speaking to people. We've done a lot less than that than we have last year. We've concentrated more on our marketing and we've got better results. So does that mean that if you are recruiting and serious at your business, and you're serious about your business, don't go out and try and actively recruit so much, work on your brand and try and get people to come to you?
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's imperative to actually become a magnet. You know, that you've got to be attracting people, but I don't think that you can neglect the value of actually going out there and reaching out to the best people that you want to be bringing in. You know, you've got to spend so much time doing that. But I think, you know, your time and effort will be rewarded so much more if once you do approach the best people, what they come and see is something they like. And also, even better, they might have already heard of you as well. You know, so if you're approaching people that already heard of you, then there's already a level of familiarity. You know, that conversation's got a much better chance of being successful. And as our mate Stephen Bartlett says, what was it? How many hours a week did he spend recruiting?
30 hours.
30 hours a week just trying to find the best people.
You should be in recruitment.
He should be in recruitment.
Well, they call themselves recruiters. I recently signed up to Ben Gallaghers newsletter, aka his journal, online journal.
You got a little
I've
like
got a
and
mate.
comment, didn't you?
I've got a mate.
This morning.
And he has named himself a recruiter because that's how important it is to find the best people for his business. And, you know, their marketing is amazing. And, you know, anybody that's interested in fashion, especially designer fashion, that's a place where they want to work. It absolutely is. And so, yeah, it is. It's imperative.
Yeah. Stephen says every company should be a recruitment business. Steve Jobs said when he got asked what's the best product that you've ever created, he didn't say the iPhone, he didn't say the Macintosh, he said the team.
Wow.
The team that built those products. That's
Is
not there.
That's
That's top of the dome.
That's top of the dome. But you know, all these great business leaders you know, that's the stuff that they say have been the greatest thing that they've done is the team. It's the group of people that they managed to bring together. Stephen Bartlett says that a CEO or a business leader's main role should be to bring together the best people in the world, bind them with a inspiring culture, and then set them a meaningful mission. Again, that's not on the screen.
You sure that's not on there?
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. It's like I'm sitting with Stephen.
Thank you.
Dressed all in black as well.
Wearing a whoop.
Wearing a
So
wig.
if I was a, I don't know, a business leader, business owner now, sitting there listening to this podcast and I'm thinking, oh shit, you know, I'm doing the wrong things. I should really start thinking about marketing. Let's say we've managed to convince them somehow. What would I do? What's the first thing I'd do?
What's the first thing you do, Maddie?
What's the first thing you did,
I
Maddie?
would do? I think, well, you've obviously got to have some content to start. So I would just press that red button, start recording, take some pictures of what you're actually up to, what the office is doing, and put it out there.
Yeah. The easy stuff, I'd say milestones. Straight away, you know, if you've got people achieving things in the office, someone's been promoted, it's an anniversary, someone's gained a new qualification, you know, they're such easy things to be posting about. Next, I'd say actually post about like projects, people that have gone to a certain site or are working on a certain thing.
Projects and products.
Yeah, projects and products.
For those industries.
Yeah, that's such easy stuff to start with.
I think a big one for us, where we started, was to offer insights and tips. So from a recruitment point of view, give as many, you know, interview tips as possible and how to, you know, have the best chance of getting a job.
Little snippets of value add.
Yeah. And then, I suppose the next level up from that is think about what your audience, consumers, customers are needing and how you can help them and add value from there.
And, you know, it's it doesn't have to be all video, doesn't have to be all pictures.
Doesn't have to be, but
I think if
it should be the goal.
It should be the goal. If you can start off posting and getting into the groove of posting regular stuff and trying to add value and, you know, decent content to your market through pictures, then that's a good place to start, isn't it? Because not every business is going to go 100 miles an hour straight into video, but it's a great like practice for you to actually start doing video. And, you know, video sounds a little bit daunting, but once you get the first few out of the way, I think we've all been there, it actually gets very, I'm not going to say very easy, but
but I think thinking about it, the worst critic is yourself. The only person that's going to pick you apart. What are you laughing at? I said it wrong.
No, not at all. I was just thinking that you might have been thinking of me because I really critique
the
myself.
The worst critic
massively.
is Tom. It's you.
I meant towards myself.
But yeah.
Nobody's worrying as much as you are about what you look like or about what you're saying.
Thank you, Jevon.
Yeah, I think that we've talked very social media here and posting a lot of content on social media. I think that you can't neglect like your website or your careers page on your website. You know, that should be full of career related content, people related content as well. So many websites that we look at for businesses that we recruit for, it's another one of those things that's just been pushed down the list of priorities again and again. And you hop on a careers page and there might just be a form to fill out for speculative applications, or, you know, there's just nothing on there. It's just a page for the sake of having a page. Whereas that should be somewhere people start. You know, that's content, that's important content, and everyone's still going to go to a company's website and a company's career page, as well as potentially social media. So got to get that rectified as well.
And I think it's worth like saying too that look, we're probably only like 8 months into our journey with this, aren't we? And, you know, we've learned so much along the way. I definitely have. I know you guys definitely have. It's been absolutely crazy. But we've had so many good results just within 8 months. You can turn it around and make things happen that quickly, can't you?
Yeah.
And it is such a journey, you know, the hardest step is to actually post your first video.
Yeah.
And post the first bit of content and get a nice schedule together. But once you're there, you can actually go really quickly.
And every post isn't going to go viral. So don't get disheartened.
As much as you try.
As much as I would
Post
like.
about Elon, that usually works on LinkedIn.
Apparently not. I just got slated for that one earlier.
Go on, talk about that post, because that's a really interesting one, actually. I don't think it probably got enough credit as it maybe should have.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, this is very much just content marketing or just marketing in general rather than necessarily from an attracting employees standpoint. Although, like, it all kind of ties together, doesn't it? It's all like this smorgasbord of marketing,
Nice.
big word.
Christmassy.
Love cheese. That attracts people. So anyway, it was just a post. So Kim Kardashian had posted a picture of her and her Cybertruck for like the 6th time. She's got 440 million followers on LinkedIn, Instagram. Apparently Tesla aren't paying her to post this stuff, so she's there posting it all for free. And if you were to pay her to do an advert, it'd be millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
But she's not the only one. Lady Gaga has posted with it. Different rappers in America have all posted with it. And it's one of those where the product, service, or experience is Instagrammable and therefore just markets itself. Like, people want to post about it. People want to get a snap of whatever it is that they're doing, where they've been, what they've bought. It's almost a bit of a status thing, I suppose, as well, a little bit with the Cybertruck to a certain extent. But it's just one of those things that's so in your face and obscure and different that
Does divide opinion a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, you want to take a picture of it and get it out there.
Yeah.
So no, it's interesting stuff. But I think what would attract people is, I think that engineers that are involved in like that engineering tech in America, Tesla's going to be one of those companies that's at the forefront of like pioneering technology. So that in itself is employer branding to a degree, because people want to be working for the company that is doing the most groundbreaking technology. Reading his biography at the moment, and he would meet with like the Tesla full self-driving team every night at 8 p.m. and like they'd all turn up and they'd all be there because they were trying to get over a certain issue, trying to resolve something, and that just like how committed would the team have to be there at 8 o'clock every night. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Well done, Elon.
Daddy Elon.
Great stuff. So how can we round this up then for content marketing? I think first of all, start doing it, whatever it is you're putting out. And I think I always said when we started doing videos, it was a scary thing, wasn't it? Up on the iPhone, behind the camera, just start posting it out there.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're your own worst critique, but also probably not that many people are going to be looking at it.
No.
To start off with.
I'm
Don't
afraid
worry
to
about
say.
So just keep getting it up there, and the more you do, the more people will see it, but the better it will get.
Yeah.
You can't compare yourself 100 videos down the line to your first video, can you?
Exactly.
It'd be really interesting to actually go back and find our first video and post it with this.
Yes.
Each of our first videos, you were harsh on yourself, very much so.
But you have got a lot better.
Thank you. Thank you.
But you were rubbish.
Yeah, you were rubbish at the start.
You can't worry about it too much, can you?
No.
Get better every time.
I'd say actionable starting points. I'd actually start like website. I think that, that's going to be there. I was going to say forever, but that's such a long-term value add for you as a business, updating a careers website, actually having somewhere that when people go there, they can find out a bit about a company. If you haven't got that, then you're absolutely missing a trick.
I think that'll probably be the first place which most people will go to is all over social media.
Yeah, 100%. But you fix that now and then that's fixed. You should be updating that. That should be changing. But that can be fixed for the longer term and start adding value over time. And I don't think some of the rebuttal or like the pushback that we get if we ever speak to people about career sites or why it's not updated, people say, we've not got enough time to update our website. We need to update our website, but there's so much content that we have to produce. We just don't have the time to do that, so on and so forth. You don't have to update your entire website. There's like software tools and there's different platforms that you can use that will just be a career site for you. It will look as if the person's landed on your website still, but really they're on a separate careers page that's really customizable. You don't have to be particularly IT literate to amend it and adjust it and update it. And you can upload jobs and people can apply. And then there's a back office. So you've got applicant tracking system and it makes it all so easy for you.
So many tools.
It's a bit of an investment, but definitely look at something like that. And then LinkedIn, Instagram, start getting Instagram posts out, company culture, sort of behind the scenes type content, LinkedIn, a blend of more professional stuff and employer content still as well. And I think that if you can solve those 3 things to start, then you're on the right track.
Once you're
and
there,
then
you're off.
I will just finish with my last piece of content advice on content.
Nailed it.
Well done, Maddie. Is if you've got to the end of this podcast, I'm presuming that we have actually convinced you to start thinking about your content and get it out there. And once you have posted that first piece of content, start tracking how it's doing. Look at the analytics, because that is a really big thing that we've done, and that's how we've realized what works for us and why it has been successful for us. So track it, analyze it, compare it to everything else that you put out, and then you will find the gems of what works for you.
Definitely. My last takeaway, this is I've done a lot of learning over the last 6 months through necessity, and I think this probably goes against the grain of what a lot of people will say, but the more content I consume, the better I understand it, and I feel like the better I know what's going to work and go out there, because you can follow trends, and there are so many pages out there which help with this sort of stuff, which is free, like learning, free information, 20-second reels, which can provide you with so much insight to these sort of things, usually from people that have done quite well on social media.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. Fab. Leave it there?
Leave it there.
Brilliant. Well done, home team.
Well done, home
from
team,
now on.
base camp.
But please let us know how you get on with your marketing. It's so interesting to see this sort of stuff. And, even if we've influenced one business or one person today, I feel like, that's a really good start. This is the second episode of our marketing mini-series, isn't it?
It is.
We're going to try and bring them out as regularly as possible. But also we don't want to run out of things to say. So we'll keep them going. Like I said, our knowledge is ever increasing with this sort of stuff, isn't it? And a lot of these podcasts are more about what we have learned as a business on our journey. So very applicable stuff. So thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in, and keep your eye out for the next one.
Adios.
Goodbye.
What are you waving to then?
Dad. I totally forgot we were recording.
Keep that in.
Keep that in, that's what I asked.
Lol.